So welcome to this tutorial on editing images in Illustrae. I'll be covering some really important tips for how to edit your images in the Illustrae canvas by using existing images. And this is the preferred workflow for the Illustrae platform. So you can use the prompt bar to describe the element that you want, choose your style, and hopefully by this stage you are already familiar with that process. But the process of editing images is actually really important and what makes Illustrae really powerful. The first tip for this workflow is to get used to using keyboard shortcuts to move images from the canvas into your prompt bar where you can start requesting edits. Depending on your device, all you need to do is select the image, hit Command-C or Control-C, and you'll notice this copied one element as PNG pop up in the bottom right corner. This means that I can now paste the same image as a PNG on my canvas, but I can also paste it directly into the prompt bar. And this is how we make edits in Illustrae to an existing image. Now that it's in the prompt bar, I can describe the change that I want to see. And I'm going to be giving some more tips about what to focus on in your prompt when you are editing existing images. In this case, all I need to do is type make it blue, keep the same format, and I'm actually going to leave the custom style field blank so that it doesn't make any additional stylistic changes. Hit edit image, and here we have our blue octopus. So keyboard shortcuts are one way to get an image into the prompt bar. As we said before, Control-C and paste into the prompt bar. You can also select an image by clicking this file upload, and that will let you upload an image from your device into the prompt bar, just like we copied it before. Another thing to note is that you can select multiple elements on the canvas, hit Control-C, and you'll see that 6 elements have been copied as a PNG. And if I paste that, you can't see it too clearly, but everything that's been selected has been pasted as an image. Let's take a look on the canvas what that looks like. This is the image that has been pasted into our prompt bar, and it includes everything that we highlighted on the canvas. This is why we recommend using this workflow where you create elements on the canvas, drag, select them, Command-C with your keyboard, and then pasting them back into the prompt bar so that you can make edits not just to individual elements, but to your entire figure. Which brings me to the next tip. It's important to choose the right format when you make image edits. So even if I select this figure, which is very landscape and horizontal, even if I paste that and add it as a landscape image, the output which Illustrae gives me will still follow this image size dimensions because this is a fixed parameter when we generate images. Even if I were to say create a landscape image, but if I choose portrait as the image size, it's going to give me a portrait sized image. Now you can imagine that this is giving conflicting instructions to our image generation model, and this can lead to issues. And it's something that people may not always notice because the default image dimensions are going to be square. If you paste an image that is landscape, sometimes you'll notice that Illustrae chops off the edges of your image, or it may reorganize things to try and fit them into the square dimensions. So this is something to always be aware of. Whenever you are editing an image, be aware of the dimensions and format of the image that you've provided, and then think about the output that you would like to see. You can, of course, ask Illustrae to rearrange things into the new format that you want. So if I wanted to reorganize grid steps, I can leave the style empty again and select square. That's also something that I can do in Illustrae. So there we go. It has reorganized this into a square grid version of the figure. The next tip is to simply focus on what you want to change about an image without needing to reiterate the existing image itself. So this is another common error that we see users making. Let's say I wanted to make a change to this brain image. again, I'm going to copy it to my clipboard and paste it into this prompt bar. If I want to highlight a certain area, let's say highlight in orange, that's actually all that I need to do because Illustrae already has the image that we've provided. It has the context of generating a scientific illustration. And all I need to describe are changes. I don't need to say a diagram of a brain highlighting frontal lobe in orange, just like this picture. You don't need any of that. All you need to do is describe the changes that you want, and Illustrae will make those changes to the existing image. Again, I need to make sure that when I am editing an image, I'm using the same format or size that I want. I can choose to change the style, but in the last tip, I'm going to be explaining why I've been using custom style in all of these edit requests, and hit edit image. So there we go, we have our highlighted frontal lobe in orange. It's also worth noting that Illustrae does not have a chat history. So if something goes wrong with your edit request, and let's say we didn't like the way that it implemented this orange, or it gave the wrong color or the wrong position, you have two options. You can either begin from your original image and try again with a slightly different prompt, or you can start from your edited prompt and ask it to make further changes from there. Since there's no history, there's actually no point in giving feedback like, no, you did it wrong, or do it like you did before. Every time you write a prompt into this prompt bar with an image or without an image, it's a fresh request with no background history or context for any previous generations that you've made. Typically, the best way to evolve a figure or illustration is to follow this process. You start with the base image, you make an edit, and then you continue making changes with each iteration until you get to the final figure that you would like to eventually use. Which brings me to the last tip for this video, which is it's recommended that you use the custom style box and leave it empty when you are editing images and you don't want to change the existing style. Just to give an example of this, if I paste this image into the prompt bar and I keep the format correct, this is a portrait image, so I'm going to keep it portrait, and I say make his shirt orange. Whatever you choose in this style selector is going to override the existing image, and it's going to request that you generate the new edited image in this style. So if we had vintage selected, it's not only going to make the shirt orange, it's also going to transform this image into a vintage illustration style image. This is why we recommend you use the custom style when you just want to make pinpointed edits to an existing image and you don't actually want to change the style. As you can see, the shirt is orange, but the entire illustration style has been adjusted. It's also worth noting that if you have a specific style that you'd like to use, the best place to do that is to write it into this custom style box here. So you might say minimal drawings rather than typing it into the prompt bar here. That's because by default, this instruction is going to be about the content of the image, and Illustrae already has a section dedicated to the styling of your images. So if you have a custom style, just select custom style and type your requirements in this box here. So just to recap, number one, make yourself familiar with the keyboard shortcuts that will let you quickly select elements or multiple elements from the canvas, copy them and paste them into the prompt bar to make your edits. Choosing the right format. When you choose style, make sure that your image size matches the output that you would like. Be aware of the sizing of the image that you provided as well, as things may get chopped off or changed if there's too much of a difference between images. Tip number 3 is focus on what to change. Iterate your way from figure to figure. And lastly, we recommend using the custom style if you don't want to make any changes to the stylistic elements of an existing image. Hopefully, if you follow those tips, you'll start seeing much better results when editing images in the Illustrae platform.